Welcome everyone to Culturama, where we ask the question, what would happen if we took our favorite professional athletes and pitted them against pop culture icons? Today we have a battle for the ages, pitting Sid the Kid versus Sid the Kid. Let's take a look at our contenders. Sid from the Toy Story franchise actually has a last name, in case you didn't know. It's Sid Phillips. In the original Toy Story, we're introduced to Sid as the sadistic young boy who lives next door to Andy. Sid is shown to dismember, blow up, set on fire, and reimagine the toys that fall into his possession. However, Sid is also the most misunderstood character in the Disney universe. While he is universally considered the original villain of the Toy Story franchise, was Sid really a villain? Was Sid even really a bad kid? I'd love to go into an in-depth analysis on whether Sid is a bad kid. Spoiler alert, he's not. But today we're taking a look at Sid's character, strengths, and power in certain areas and see if he has what it takes to defeat another kid that gets his own dosing of hate, Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby is the best hockey player in the world and has been the captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins since 2007 when he was only 19 years old, the youngest captain in NHL history. Crosby has led his team to 2 Stanley Cups and is the recipient of nearly every award in the NHL, including 2 Hart Memorial Trophies, 2 Conn Smythe Trophies, 2 Art Ross Trophies, 3 Ted Lindsay Awards, 2 Maurice Rocket Richard Trophies, the Mark Messier Leadership Award, 3-time Best NHL Player ESPY Awards, and NHL All-Star Team, not to mention 2-time Olympic gold medalist for Canada. So let's take a look at our rules and categories for the fight. This fight consists of 4 categories. Each category will judge our competitors on a 10-point system. The higher the score, the better. 10 in a category represents a perfect score. The scores are tabulated at the end of all 4 rounds, and the competitor with the highest score wins the fight. For this fight, our competitors will be slugging it out in the following categories: family, creativity, aggression, and character. So let's get started to see which Sid will be left needing a double bypass brain transplant. Family. We all have our origin stories. All great athletes and all great characters have beginnings that play a part in defining who they are. Sid from Toy Story is a unique case. For starters, Sid lives in a nice house, in a nice neighborhood. But not all is well in the Phillips household. Sid and his sister have an alcoholic father. This is evident when we cut to a scene where their father is not moving, watching children's commercials with several cans of beer on the coffee table in front of him. His mom, probably frustrated and stressed with dealing with her alcoholic husband and no doubt exhaustively deflecting or hiding her husband's antics, or general lethargic existence, often communicates in yelling. Yet she does make purchases that, while reckless and neglectful from a danger perspective, does provide the fuel for Sid's interests. For example, purchasing the rocket as well as M80 explosives for him.
It came! It finally came! The big one. Extremely dangerous. Cool.
She also allows Sid to skate all the way to Pizza Planet, a location we later learn is typically a drive-worthy distance. Overall, I think Sid's mom tries at some level, but weighed down by her husband and raising 2 kids relatively on her own, does not provide the guidance and oversight Sid and his sister Hannah require. So we have a neglectful alcoholic father and an enabling, semi-neglectful, overworked, stressed mother. Let's talk a moment about the house Sid lives in. Follow me down this rabbit hole for a moment. Did you also notice that the hallway carpet in Sid's house is the same pattern as the carpet from The Shining? In fact, the Toy Story franchise is packed with imagery and references to The Shining. In Toy Story 3, Sid's garbage truck has the license plate number RM237, room 237 from, you guessed it, The Shining. Also in Toy Story 3, the Sunnyside Daycare's janitor is named Mr. Tony, just like Danny's imaginary friend, Tony. And what is Mr. Tony doing in Toy Story 3 when we see him? He's looking into a mirror, like when Danny talks to Tony in The Shining. So the house imagery is enough to give anyone nightmares, which doesn't help the family score overall for Sid. Score for family? 4. Sidney Crosby has been blessed in this world. Probably more than any other area, Sidney was blessed with a loving, supportive, and secure family. And in many ways, this has supported the success in every area of his life. Sidney was born in 1987 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. He grew up in Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia with his parents and sister. Sidney's father, Troy Crosby, played hockey growing up, including major junior professional hockey. Troy was even drafted by the Montreal Canadiens, but never quite made it to the NHL. But not only was he successful, but also instilled the love of hockey in young Sidney, and got Sid on the ice playing hockey before he was even 3 years old. Sid credits his father with teaching him to win. Sid's mother, Trina, is by all accounts a great and successful mother. Not only did she raise 2 great kids, but she also works to expand the sport of hockey for women to include professional leagues. She has served on the board of directors for the Canadian Women's Hockey League, as well as other ventures to grow the sport for women. Sidney's sister, Taylor, is also a phenomenal hockey player, having played at Shattuck St. Mary's and college hockey at St. Cloud State University. While escaping some of the hard adversity many young athletes need to overcome, it's hard to deny the fact that Sidney Crosby comes comes out on top swinging with a decisive hit in the family category. Score for family, 10. Creativity. While we pointed out the hurdles Sid has had to jump through in terms of his horror house and neglectful parent situation, Sid uses his imagination to escape to a place where he has control. Sid never misses a beat when playing. He moves from one narrative story to the next, recreating and reimagining what things are and creating what they could and should be. Sid is the ultimate storyteller.
I can see you're with a straw. Well, we have ways of making you talk. Where are your rebel friends now?
Your Pop-Tarts are ready! All right!
In the future, he could be a writer or a surgeon. Sid creates stories and personalities fluidly, and the fact that Sid is frightened to realize the toys are actually alive is a good sign for his character. Score for creativity, 9. Sidney Crosby can perform miracles on the ice with his stick work and his ability to read a play. While it is true he hones his art through repetition and practices opportunities where he had failed to capitalize or score, this practice and repetition allows the light-speed game of hockey to slow down for him to pull off the visual and physical miracles on ice. We are talking about split decisions in less than half a second. Crosby's creativity on the ice is virtually unmatched. Off the ice, he is a bit more predictable, yet very disciplined and respectful. Score for creativity, 8. Aggression. Sid has the aggression and seems to take a potentially dangerous amount of joy in destruction. Sid takes apart his toys for fun and enjoys scaring his sister with his creations. But we never see Sid actually hurt anyone he knows is living. Not his sister, mother, father, or his partner in crime, his dog Scud. And after he realizes the toys are alive, we never see Sid hurt another toy. Sid also has a fight or flight moment and he chooses flight. Granted, he was vastly outnumbered and frankly seeing a shockworthy phenomenon of toys coming alive. But Sid definitely has a tip higher on the aggression scale and can probably direct that in a way to damage an opponent. But winning a fight requires some discipline and control, something he seems to achieve in Toy Story 3 where we see Sid as a garbage man. And what do we see from Sid? Happiness. He enjoys his job. Score for aggression, 7. Sidney Crosby may be the most poised player on and off the ice collectively, but Sidney does have a breaking point, and it's in those moments where his aggression shines through. Fighting. Look, I know what you're thinking. Crosby can't fight. Well, guess what? You are wrong. You might also be surprised to learn that not only can Crosby fight, but he actually fights way more than you might remember. And he wins most of the time. Crosby stands up for his team and isn't afraid to jump into it with anyone. Crosby always gets crap for whining and diving, but guess what? He backs it up. He might complain, but he'll also punch that smile right off your face. Score for aggression, 5. Character. Sid gets a tough rap as the villain in Toy Story, but Sid has a heart underneath it all. In the original Toy Story, Sid encounters Woody and the rest of the toys breaking the wall and revealing that they are sentient beings. While Sid freaks out and runs away, we are left wondering, whatever happened to Sid? How did he recover? How did he absorb this illuminating moment? Despite a very short on-screen time, Toy Story 3 tells us so much about the character of Sid and reveals how he may indeed be the ultimate hero of the Toy Story universe. While the writers seemingly chose to have Sid take on the role of garbage man as a common trope for failure, Sid instead revels in his job. He is all smiles and all happiness as he performs his duty. Fast forward to the near end of Toy Story 3 and the incinerator at the landfill. In this emotional moment for Andy's toys, what do you find missing? An almost deafening silence outside of Andy's toys. There are no other toys. Imagine a vast landfill with no other toys. And no, it wasn't because all the toys had already been incinerated. For as far as the eyes could see, there were hills of garbage, yet no other toys. And that is because of Sid. He is happy because he has rescued every abandoned or broken toy in the city limits. He takes them home and fixes them because he knows that they are alive and need his help. And that not only gives Sid joy and an outlet for his creativity, but also a great purpose. Sid may not have been the hero we wanted, but he was the hero we needed all along. Score for character, 7. Sidney Crosby is an incredibly humble man considering the legendary abilities he has in the sport of hockey. He is also thoughtful, generous, and a born leader. He puts others above himself and he takes responsibilities for himself and his team. Already awarded the NHL's award for leadership, Sidney is a man of incredible character. He gives every chance he can, donating his time, his efforts, his resources, and his money to causes mostly for children. He is a champion for people in need and dedicates much of his free time to causes that help many communities. And he doesn't need to post about it on social media either. Unlike the attention whores that flood professional sports, Sidney Crosby doesn't need 100,000 likes on his picture donating to the poor for validation. Like a good leader, he lets his actions speak. Sidney has to deal with so many haters on so many levels. Hockey is an emotional and fast game, so the in-game rivalries are just part of the game. So I don't fault him or any of his natural rivals over the years for spats on the ice. That's just a part of the game. But the media hate, including social media, is palpable and constant. Don Cherry was famously super critical of Sidney Crosby for embellishing plays. Embellishment! This coming from a guy who looks like he grabbed your mom's floral living room drapes and sewed a blazer out of it and used her silk scarf as a pocket square. Don Cherry scolded Crosby for diving and whining. Again, a guy who makes his living off of whining about NHL players for not reflecting his idealistic player type from 1972 is telling the best player of all time to stop whining. Jesus, Don, what is it with you people? The online hatred of Sidney Crosby is next level. But Sid takes it all in stride and has made virtually no mistakes in handling his critics. He always remaining calm and respectful. Okay, maybe he whines a little bit, but score for character, 9. So let's tally up those scores and see which Sid wins our fight. Sid Phillips comes in at a respectable 27, and Sidney Crosby lands top shelf with a 32. Crosby wins. Time to finish him. But in a stunning yet predictable display of leadership and character, Crosby shows Sid the one thing his parents never gave him: compassion and mercy. New Fred, Sid, and Sid hit the basement for a little game of indoor hockey. Well, who should we pit against each other next?